So it's good to be here once again. Thank you very much. How is your portfolio doing? A lot is happening regarding these stocks in the market based on the fact that reports are being released and a lot is going on with the changes that I'm seeing in the performances of these companies. Yesterday, I gave you a hint about the performances of some of these stocks, and today again, in the course of the night, last night, and up till this early this morning, I've also seen some changes in some stocks that is good to take note of. In the course of the live session, we will carry on with that. But most importantly, very glad to be here again. For those just joining us, I am your wealth creation enthusiast with a passion for helping individuals and corporate organizations build wealth through the capital markets and the money markets. A lot of you know me already, so we will just go ahead analyzing what's happening in the Nigerian market currently and looking for ways and means of taking position for our benefits. So building wealth is a culture that everybody needs to understand and imbibe. In the process, you will get acquainted with being financially savvy. Your investment acumen will deepen, and most importantly, you can be able to decipher what a good or bad investment is. Most importantly, you will not be victim of all of these scams that is going on around town, and the money you have earned will surely work harder for you to earn you more money. So what do we have today? We go on to see the top gainers for the day before we proceed. But then, if you have comments, I'd like to take your comments. Thank you very much, Sholakwe Quality. Olorikas, appreciate your presence. TD4, Sanjay Bansal, thank you for joining. Very good afternoon to you from wherever you are. Sholakba is asking if Aradel is a good buy. Aradel will always be a good buy irrespective of what's going on at any time, unless the fundamentals change and the business is hit by a difficulty. Aradel continues to be a very good buy. Seeing GTCO currently shedding ₦1 per share. And looks like Access Bank has marked down for dividend, because up till yesterday it was about 24, currently 22, and it has gained 55 kobo immediately. So 22 naira 55 kobo, that's Access Bank. Just noticing some of the quick trades happening per second. Zenith Bank 47.85. I'm going on to take a look at the top gainers for the day, but before then, Feedsin released a fantastic result, and that is seeing their stock price jumping, currently 22 naira 20 kobo, gaining ₦1 for the day. Thank you very much, VOO. I see your gifts there, really appreciate. Fortune Ojenema says, good afternoon, coach. Please, what do you think of Multiverse? One of the results I glanced through yesterday, because it takes a lot of time to go through these results. I want to inform you that Multiverse's result was not wonderful at all. And so we have a situation where you will have to pause and ponder before you buy a stock like that right now. Let's see what the market does. Do not go into that stock. The first quarter result is not fantastic. And sometimes we need to understand that the first quarter result of a company not doing wonderful does not mean the company is going to be that bad, because sometimes some businesses have a way of struggling in the first quarter to make reasonable returns. All right, so take note of that. But at the moment, it's not very impressive, so do not go into Multiverse at the moment. Just stay action on that stock. Official Fred Ofem says, good afternoon, coach. What do you think of Sterling Bank? For me, all along, as far as Sterling Bank is concerned, anything more than 5 naira is not okay for me. But let's see, it's 5 naira 40 kobo. Ideal enterprise, if you ask me, should be around 4 naira plus. Okay. The bids are less than the offer currently, 4.2 million bids versus 5.7 million offers. So stay action on Sterling Bank, they were not very impressive as far as last year is concerned. I do not know how well they will perform. Looking at the first quarter result, I haven't seen it yet. Okay, Olori Kaz is asking, Coach, is it advisable to get GTB now? If you indeed truly want GTB, getting it around the lower band of the 60 naira mark is okay. So maybe you exercise a bit patience. Today GT is losing at the moment, recording 66 naira 90 kobo from the 67 naira 80 kobo it closed yesterday. There are 15 million offers, which is more than the bids of 5.6 million. I believe one of these strategies you can use is do not be moved by first quarter results so quickly. That's because the normal euphoria will come and die down. I think the best thing to do is to wait on your best preferred stock. When the euphoria of result release eventually wears out, then you proceed to buy that stock. That's the target. So yesterday, Cadbury has been identified as a very good stock going forward. Allow the euphoria to wear out and then come back when things are looking stable. As I speak to you, Cadbury is already losing, down from the 32 to 29 naira per share. You see that? So if you had hurried to buy Cadbury yesterday, you would have overpaid for it. The year is still very young. Only first quarter result has been seen. There are 3 more quarters to go. So whatever actions you are taking, exercise restraint. First quarter results season like we have right now is not the time to make your final conclusion, even though by coming on here on a daily basis in this live session, you will eventually get to be told what entry prices are fair enough, irrespective of what's driving the market per time. So Cadbury, with all the wonderful results seen yesterday, crashed to 29 naira 40 kobo today. So a lot of people bought it at 32 naira 15 kobo when it was on full bid. That's no form of offer in the market as at yesterday. But today, what do we have? 484,000 Cadbury shares being bidded for versus 2.5 million shares on offer. That makes every situation around Cadbury a bit questionable, because how could you have come out with such a wonderful result only to now have excess supply in the market the following day? So this is why you need this mentorship to guide you not to make mistakes. If you bought Cadbury at 32, you will now have to wait longer before you start feeling good. So it is a gradual process, and while it is dipping, it's important to also keep watch and probably pick a bit of these stocks before any form of material changes takes place again in terms of price movement. So you get the point now. Even when a stock does badly in terms of the results, it's important to be patient and calculative before you make your decisions. For instance, First Bank's first quarter result was not too fantastic because they did not surpass what they did in the first quarter of 2024. But guess what? First Bank is not losing in the market. There is so much confidence beyond what the bank is churning out in terms of the numbers at the moment. But you can be rest assured that very soon all that will change. Can I tell you this? One of the gems I realized that we have and we're looking away from all along is Wema Bank. As if it was not enough for Wema Bank to jump from around 11 to 13 yesterday, closing 13 naira 75 kobo yesterday. Wema Bank is currently at 15 naira per share. In fact, it traded above 15, but currently 15 naira per share. And most of us saw Wema Bank jumping between 9 and 10 for a long time. Somebody kept offloading Wema Bank repeatedly, and it looked like Wema may not succeed. But guess what? 15 naira. So if you bought at 10 naira, you're already 50% up, very close to 50% up. And we're talking about between, even up till January, February, Wema Bank was still selling at 10 naira per share. But what do we have right now? Ladies and gentlemen, 15 naira, all right? But the sell down continues. It's just dropped to 14 naira 95 kobo. What is it about Wema Bank? Wema Bank is no longer a 10 naira stock. If you are listening to me, take proper note, because they did so well. I can assure you it can't continue to remain a 10 naira stock. But should the first quarter result euphoria die and you find Wema around 10 and 11, it's a fantastic enterprise. I'm talking about if you are taking a long-term position. So guys, this is what the situation is. Wema has changed level dramatically, and it's looking like it wants to start rubbing shoulders with the likes of Fidelity. Remember, over the years, Fidelity and FCMB were peers. They were about the same price all along until Fidelity started performing better, and then we've seen the difference right now today. Fidelity is a 20 naira stock, while FCMB remains a 9 naira and 10 naira stock. Now, Wema is breaking away from being a 10 naira or a penny stock. That is, any stock below 10 naira, double digit, is a penny stock. Every single digit stock, both in the foreign markets and the Nigerian market, is a penny stock. So Wema is about waving the penny ecosystem, if I may put it that way, goodbye. And so watch out for Wema, but take your time, don't rush into it. It's back to 15 again. There's a whole lot of activities going on right there in Wema. 8.3 million bids versus just 442,000 offers. So pay attention to all these, take notes, and possibly position yourself to take good advantage when the prices become interesting, right? Okay. Tede Ifo is asking, Coach, what's your take on MTN? MTN went through a very rough patch last year. The price was affected negatively, but things have turned around for the better for MTN. I wish you came in when the market suffered a little bit of crash or sell-off based on the ripple effect from the international market. MTN as at then dropped to around 230 something naira per share, down from the 250 it got to. But currently it's at 246, and if you are taking a long-term position, MTN is okay to take position in. As at November, I spoke about how the bad days of MTN are now over. Then it was selling for 170 naira per share. Anybody who took position then is smiling to the bank at the moment, because from 170 to 246, that's a lot of capital gain already. So we await the first quarter result of MTN to know what best to do with that stock. But it's looking most likely that MTN is out of the woods. Thank you very much, everybody. Keep your questions coming in for capital appreciation. Okay, someone is asking, but the screen just kicked that comment, and I'm going to ask again. Scroll down to see what the question was. Okay, that's from the Otumba one. It says, for capital appreciation for 7 months, what stocks can I put a couple millions in? The Otumba one, I am always not into predicting performance of stocks in especially a short-term period. But having said that, because there's a lot that can happen and change the trajectory of the market, a lot is still out of control when it comes to market dynamics, and you can't do much. We work with the information we have, talking about corporate action, government policies, and also the financial reports available to us. Having done that, we leave the rest to the market vagaries. That's what I'll call it. So on that note, that is to say, nobody can predict the market. In any case, the best set of stocks to put your money in expectation of something good in the next 7 months or thereabouts, I would mention UACN, currently at 33 Naira. If you can target between 30 and 33, or if it never drops to 30, 33 is fine going forward. That is especially if the first quarter result is good. And then I would also say go on to NASCON and find a way to take position in NASCON at around, well, NASCON may never come back to 40 anytime soon. Otherwise, I would have said take position in NASCON at around 40, because this NASCON we're looking at today is at 50, dropping from 53 yesterday. So it got as high as 53 yesterday, currently dropping to 50 today at the moment. Though there are more bids than offers, 3.7 million bids versus 2.8 million offers. NASCON was a fantastic take when it was around 40, and I'm sure a lot of us got it at 40 when I mentioned NASCON. It even dropped to around 38 or so. I hope that some people took advantage of it. But you see that NASCON, it has a whole lot of prospects going forward. Then we want to also mention a stock like, wow, I'm seeing livestock doing a fantastic recovery, even if the result is not too wonderful. Exactly what I said the other day, just a moment ago. I said, do not be too fast or too quick to react against any result that is perceived to be negative. It's interesting to see that livestock has jumped from 772 to 8 Naira 49 kobo when it was actually being dumped seriously yesterday. 5.8 million bids versus just 336,000 offers. That's to tell you how interesting the situation with livestock is. And you remember that stock that was quoted on the stock exchange very recently, that was last week. Was it last week or this week, Monday? Well, Legend Internet PLC is currently at 8 Naira 83 kobo. It closed at 8.25 yesterday. So it's now available in the market and people have started taking profits. Now I'm taking a look at the highest price it was sold today, and I'm seeing that some people bought it at 9 Naira 6 kobo. And if you are here listening to me, I hope you are not one of them, because I warned you earlier not to chase these kind of stocks. Let the dust around their listing settle, and then let's also see the numbers, make projections, and be sure you are paying for value. As we speak, on this very day, some people bought it as high as 9 Naira 6 kobo, and currently it's down to 8.83, even though it's slightly above yesterday's closing price. There is suddenly offer in the market, 1.5 million offers. This stock was unavailable when it got listed in the first 2 to 3 days, but now it's available. It has seemed to touch 9 Naira, which is the maximum price it got to from the listing price of 5 Naira 63 kobo. The point is, listing by introduction means that the public do not have it. It is the founding shareholders who have those stocks. And so before it was now made available for the public to buy, perhaps it might have moved to 6 or 7. So currently it's at about 8 Naira 83 kobo. In fact, somebody's bought as low as 7 Naira 50 kobo today. So that's about Legend Internet PLC. So stay patient about that one, and let's wait for the noise around the listings to die down. Yes, the Otumba one, regarding your 7-month stock, I'm still looking at a stock like Guinness. Looks good if you invest in the brewery sector. I started mentioning Guinness at 74 or so. It's currently now 84 naira. Someone I advised to buy yesterday at 80, fortunately bought at 80, and it closed at 80 yesterday. But as we speak now, Guinness is at 84 naira per share. 495,000 shares being bidded for versus just 12,000 shares on offer. I told you, before you know it, Guinness will touch 100 naira within the first half of this year, and it is proving to be riding on that prediction correctly at the moment. Okay, Fortune says, I bought Wema at 10 naira 25 kobo break-even price. Coach, please talk about John Holt. First of all, let me congratulate you about your Wema. Fortune Ojenema seems to now have gotten a good grip of the market, and is doing very fantastic. So far, so good. She has added a little bit of patience to this, and that's because initially she was not welcomed into the market very well because of how the stock she bought performed and how she quickly sold. But right now, things are looking good for her. From 10 naira 25 kobo to 15 naira at the moment, that's nearly 50% profit. And we are talking about just a few months ago, not even up to 6 months. Okay, great. For John Holt has been a dead company. There has been a lot of hype about what is going to happen and what is not happening, but I do not believe the hype. Beyond the cover, John Holt has not given me any reason to trust it. But you know, a lot of things change from time to time. So let's hope that a good Q1 result is out to show us that things have turned a new corner in John Holt. So be careful where you put your money. It's always better to pump it into what you already have that you are sure is a good company, or you hold on to cash for any other eventual opportunities that may arise. Okay? That's about John Holt. Keep power tapping your screens. Let's keep getting more people involved. Oremus is here, says we go again. Staying invested. Okay, let's see what we have on Instagram. Any callers, feel free to call in and let's talk. Okay, Coach, that's Tijani Ibrahim, says, Coach, what will you say about my name it and Maya? Should I hold Maya? Did you say Maya? Okay, depends on your entry prices actually. Tijani Ibrahim, name it. You will need to stay patient if you are not in profit at the moment. It's looking like it's established some sort of support level around the 2 naira 70 kobo band, 270, 250 band. Currently 270. If you didn't buy below that, maybe you should hold on and watch to see what the first quarter result has to say. But Maya actually is a stock a company I have not really researched enough to make any definite statement about. One of my problems with a stock like Maya is liquidity. Please be careful about some of these stocks you buy, because liquidity is very important. What is liquidity? Availability of buyer and seller, and the stock always tradable. That's liquidity. Some stocks can look very attractive but very illiquid, so that when you have very pressing need to sell that particular stock, you don't find buyers, nobody's interested. and it's also bought in trickles. So look out for very liquid stocks in your journey in this business so that you don't get stranded on the day you need to sell a stock urgently. One stock that has done very well in terms of its results in relation to what I'm talking about right now is Feedsin. Feedsin published a fantastic result, and it has jumped from 21 yesterday to 22 naira 50 kobo. It used to be illiquid, but I'm seeing a lot of activities now regarding this particular stock. 572,000 bids versus 226,000 offers for Feedsin. Another very good result there, but I need to be sure whether at the current 22 naira 50 kobo per share, the projected earnings per share for the rest of the year is sustainable, and whether or not at 22.50 if it's a good buy. Okay, but one very good stock, one very solid performance amongst the results I was going through early this morning. In the wee hours of this morning, I was taking a look at some good results, and I can tell you one of such is May and Baker. Remember how May and Baker toyed with your emotions, jumping from 9 naira down to 7 naira and stagnating over there? Well, May and Baker published a fantastic result, and I can tell you for free that that stock is no longer a 10 naira stock. It's no longer, it's not supposed to be a penny stock. But you know, May and Baker has this attitude of always disappointing shareholders or investors. When you expect it to rise, it begins to behave funny. But you see, the numbers back the current price. In fact, it looks like at 9 naira, which is it is now, it's still a very good buy. Even though, based on the behavior of these stocks, you know, when you stay long in this market, you can be able to tell some stocks have certain behaviors, and you want to be able to monitor them and take advantage of these behaviors. So I will go ahead to pick calls. I have 2 callers waiting, but first of all, let me quickly run down the top gainers for the day. Vitafoam is number 1, 10%, 52 naira 80 kobo. Congratulations to everybody who bought Vitafoam at 24 naira when I first mentioned it. I'm still in that boat. I've already enjoyed dividend, and yet the stock price is ballooning. This is over 100% gain already on Vitafoam. Congratulations. I remember someone also mentioning yesterday that they got Vitafoam at 23 or 24 naira when I mentioned it. And then UPL, University Press, is the second on the list of top gainers at the moment, 10% maximum gain, and UPL is currently at 3 naira 74 kobo. What do we have next? Livestock, 9.97%. Remember, it's 10% maximum gain per day. So livestock is at 9.97%, 8 naira 49 kobo. Very interesting. What do we have next? CNI leasing jumps 9.89% to 4 naira per share. McNichols is next, 9.88%, jumps to 1 naira 89 kobo. Linkage Assurance, next on the list, number 6 top gainer so far, 9.84%, currently 1 naira 34 kobo. ABC Transport, doing very well so far today, 9.57%, number 7 top gainer, 2 naira 6 kobo. Number 8, Wema Bank, 9.09% gained, 15 naira at the moment. FTN Cocoa, 8.84%, and currently 1 naira 97 kobo. The Mutual Benefits Assurance, 8.33%, 91 kobo, currently ranked the 10th top gainer for the day. That's where I end the top gainers list, and then we'll go on to pick the call from Oremos. Oremos has been standing by, so let's hear Oremos. If we can connect. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Very good afternoon to you, Oremos the Prof. It's good to have you. Tell the rest of our listeners where you're streaming from.
Okay, I am Oremus. I am streaming from Imo State, Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Oremos. Good to
Thank
have
you
you
for having.
again.
Yeah, thank you for having me once again. Just a
Great.
very quick one. Just a very quick one. I was among those who loaded Transcorp. It should be last year.
Okay.
Last year, even before the what is it called? Even the before the don't know the
The
breaking
share
and
consumption.
yes, even before the share reconstruction. So, but then, since that time it has continued to lag, and then I'm doing portfolio rebalancing, and
Okay.
because of that, I have decided to let that stock go so that I'll use the funds for other things. So, I actually sold it, but then I left some. I left some hoping that there will be a turnaround. But then it has not registered any progress. And then at present, I have completely lost all hope. I'm going to shift. So, but the issue now is this. I want to sell the remaining. It's very small, very small. I want to sell the remaining. But then whenever I want to sell it, they say you don't have sufficient balance to sell.
Really?
Yes, and this thing has happened many times. You don't have sufficient balance to sell, and I'm seeing the stocks there. I'm seeing the stocks in my Morgan Capital this thing portfolio. Well, I don't know whether it is from my own end or from their own end, or I don't know.
Okay. Oremos, I think you should contact Morgan Capital and let's
Okay,
see what their response is because there has been some form of mix-up since after that reconstruction. It took a lot of them a while to update the portfolios of holders after the reconstruction, and that thing caused a lot of confusion for many. you know Price increased but the number of shares they did not reduce in the portfolio. So I hope they have not made any errors with yours, but what you can do is first do your homework, go back to the quantity you bought, reduce by the ratio that it was. For instance, if you had 1 million shares before, based on the reconstruction, it reduces to 250,000 shares. So do that calculation yourself and be sure that what you have left after what you sold is correct. Then you confront them with the details so they can sort it out.
all right. Thank you very much. I
Thank you,
appreciate.
sir. Thank you. Omo B, very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for the gifts. Coach, good afternoon, please. What do you think about Access Bank? Ebuka, Access Bank. Access Bank should be a very good stock, but it will take a lot of patience to benefit from what it stands to offer. A lot of the market players are not very comfortable with their acquisition spree across the continent, so and across the world, you know. So that's where we have a little bit of challenge. But if you really love to invest in Access Bank, I will advise that you have some reasonable dose of patience to wait out the delays their acquisitions may be causing in terms of reflection in shareholders' returns. Okay. Otherwise, Access Bank is okay. It's just that if you love efficiency, you'll be unimpressed with the too much focus on acquisition left, right, and center. Because the more you are acquiring, yes, you are growing the uh, total assets of the bank. In fact, Access Bank, based on that model of business that they have adopted, buying up banks left, right, and center, it ranks them as the highest ranked Nigerian bank in terms of total assets. It's the biggest bank in terms of total assets. But that's not all about this thing. Just like acquiring things, and then in the end, when you check what the net asset is, you are nothing compared to others who have fewer assets than you are or than you have. Just like what we are trying to do as a community, we are trying to grow our net worth. Basically, your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. Okay, so when you focus on growing your net worth, it means you are cutting liabilities as low as possible, reducing debts to as low as possible, while increasing your assets so that in the end you are better off financially all the time compared to if you had to just depend only on buying assets without working on the liabilities themselves. Okay, so most of these banks that Access Bank is also acquiring, they come with all sorts of baggages. There are liabilities that they come with, and we want to be safe with such banks. All right, so that's it about Access. That's my thought. Ojukes is asking, Coach, can I top up my GTCO and Zenith? Absolutely, you can, especially for Zenith. I think Zenith under 50 is always a good buy. And these are times when you can be able to do that. I saw Zenith at 44. It's not up to 2 weeks. Currently, it's at 48. Zenith will make a lot of people money. But at the moment, the bid and offer status can scare you. In any case, maybe you should buy at 47 and below. Between 45 and 47 is a good entry for Zenith, pending when things normalize in terms of them matching what GTCO has paid. Like I said, there is greater chance of capital gains if you compare Zenith and GT, because Zenith will eventually be chasing and trying to fight GT to pay what GT paid in terms of interim dividend and final. So I expect Zenith, among GT and Zenith to declare an interim dividend after GT. This time they will not be in a rush to do that, so they can be able to match them, and hopefully you move from 47 to 55. It's not a bad idea. I entered a radio yesterday at 450, waiting for Zenith at 45, but it's running up. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you've got to wait. The truth is, the earnings season, earnings season, Q1 earnings season will not last forever. Okay? So there will be times when all of this euphoria will die, and then you start seeing some stocks lagging around, and just market will be trading sideways because nothing much is happening, no information, no catalyst to drive stock prices. And then you just relax until second quarter results are out again, which is going to be some time from now, right? Coach, please, I haven't received Zenith and Access dividend. Is there an issue, sir? Economy, still wait a bit. The ideal waiting period I will advise is 2 weeks. 2 weeks after the dividend is started, after payment commences, you should be able to receive yours. Okay, so if you haven't and it's not up to 2 weeks, just still hang on, but always remember you are waiting to receive your dividend, so you can remember to follow up with your stockbroker and ultimately the registrars. IKG is asking, considering what Access Bank declared, is it a good idea to increase investment or not? Access actually impressed the market because the market has been used to Access doing something else below expectation. But they came out and paid a final dividend of 2 naira. If you add that to the interim, I can't recall how much immediately. They did very well. And so it's good to invest. But the point is, at what price? That's the point. And I would say, based on the current 22 naira 60 kobo, maybe 22 and under, I still foresee Access doing getting as low as 20 at some point. After all these earnings activities are gone and dividend payment is off, then a lot of stocks will struggle. Okay, When there are no developing stories to keep the price active and the market active, you will find stock prices drop. So at that point, you can now come and cherry pick, cherry pick on the best stocks that are good for you. That's the way to play this game. See UBA now back to 35. Okay, so all of these stocks are actually trying to recover from their markdown position after dividend payment. Black Pelly says, first hold call, first quarter results. Should we still hold, sell, or accumulate? Hold and wait for any form of irrationality of the market, then accumulate more under 24 if it gets below 24. But never sell your first bank no matter what. Sometimes it could be a ploy to shake out weak hands. You know, I'm taking a look at the bid and offer status now. First Holdco has 6.6 million bids versus 1.5 million offers. The result is not fantastic, I can tell you. They didn't match what they did last year, but there is a whole lot waiting to happen. So you don't want to throw away your jewels by a knee-jerk reaction so that you don't regret it. A lot of things can be very painful in this market when you take certain decisions only to come back to now regret it. I'm going to take a look at First Bank's result, and I'm looking at it now just to give you a heads up, because I went through them early this morning. You can see I'll get back to that, but there's a question pending here. Chini A says, what of NB, Nigerian breweries? Nigerian breweries is enjoying the party going on in the brewery sector. I can tell you for free that at this point, any brewery company you buy, you're going to be making money 1 year from now. Nigerian breweries, Guinness, international breweries, what's the other one? Champion breweries, they are all making money. You know why? Even if they don't make too much sales, they've actually topped up prices. Those who drink must have realized that the beer, a bottle of beer they used to buy for 300 or 500 naira is now 1,000 naira per bottle. That's a whole lot. So the brewery sector has found a way to bounce back from their foreign exchange losses of last year. And so, of course, when they suffered those losses, the stock prices were beaten down badly. So these stocks have proven that they are back, and suddenly Nigerian breweries from 28 naira is now 42. You want to exercise a little bit of restraint to watch out to see if it dips. In fact, the 52 weeks low of Nigerian breweries is 22 naira 60 kobo. So that's to say, within the last 1 year, the lowest Nigerian breweries fell to was 22 naira 60 kobo, and a lot of people were scared. Well, guess what? It's now 42 naira 70 kobo. And so if you take a look at most of these brewery stocks, you will see the same trend. Let's take a look at Champion Breweries, for instance. Champion Breweries, that's it. Currently 4 naira 70 kobo, but the look at the 52 weeks low is 2 naira 72 kobo. So this is where patience comes in. You can see 52 naira, 2 naira 70 kobo currently is now 4 naira 70 kobo. Right? Then you go on to international breweries. International breweries currently 7 naira 38 kobo is on full offer. This is one brewery stock that may be struggling actually. I haven't seen the first quarter result, maybe the market is reacting negatively to the first quarter result, because what I'm seeing here is not looking pleasant. Yesterday it closed at 8 naira 20 kobo. Today it's down to 7 naira 38 kobo. And if you take a good look, the 52 weeks low is 3 naira 60 kobo. It was as low as 3 naira 60 kobo within the last 1 year, and currently at 7 naira 38. So even at 3 naira 60 kobo, that's 100% profit if you bought it that low. And this is why we are mindful. I am particularly mindful of advising you about buying a stock. It is not just finding the good stock, it's about finding the good price. And if you can play the patient game well, you can buy it. Now, one of the lessons to learn about this is do not chase any stock. A stock might be rising. You are hearing the news about its rise, then that's not the time to buy. You are already late to the party. You are enriching those who have bought it earlier by buying that high, because eventually everybody else will dump on you. Okay? Then the other stock is Guinness. Guinness was selling as low as 49 naira 55 kobo 52 weeks within the last 1 year, not 1 year ago. Please understand this. It's not even 1 year ago. In fact, I can go through the system now to really investigate at exactly what period that Guinness sold as low as I am speaking. The record shows it was selling for as low as 49 naira 55 kobo, but today Guinness is at 88 naira, almost 100%. Now let's go and see how low, what time it sold that low. Understand this 52 weeks low does not mean 52 weeks ago. The idea is within the last 1 year, there was a period, a particular day or a particular season, a particular month, a stock sold that low. So I'm trying to do the investigation so you can see exactly. That's it, 1 year ago, how low it was. I'm seeing 65. No, 1 year ago. All right, that's it. On the 30th of May, Guinness sold at 49 naira 55 kobo. We are in April, just almost 1 year away from now. 1 year back. We are in April. Now, let me see what happened in April. April 2nd, it was 49 naira 60 kobo. It got to 50, it dropped again to 49 naira 55 kobo. In June, it sold at 49 naira, 27th of May, 49 naira 55 kobo. You see the point now? So, if you bought it that low when it was hit badly, and you remember it was still around this first quarter results season, right? That was when the results were coming out and things were looking very rough. And so people were dumping the stock. So it dropped to 49 naira 55 kobo in May and late April. But guess what? It's now 88. So in the end, patience is key. So Chini, Nigerian breweries, is looking good going forward. But if you can wait a bit and buy under, it can't go below 40 anymore. I don't see it going below 40 because it's going to now try to gather momentum to rise. And what's the highest price it sold within the last 1 year? Nigerian breweries. If Nigerian breweries can go below 40, that would be fantastic. Well, the highest price that sold for is 43.50, currently 42.70, and that 43.50 maybe happened this week. So I will advise Because when the stock price moves very fast, it eventually pulls back. So don't be surprised the pullback is happening now. And should it drop below 40, it's a good entry price. Okay. I used to have a caller who eventually disappeared. Maybe network drops the ferret. Hi, coach. What do you think of UBA? Muna, UBA is a good buy, but be careful because they're not done with their recapitalization. What that means is you will not see the per share metrics is going to be incomplete and incorrect for a while. That's the situation with UBA. That's because very soon they will do a rights issue. I've said that before. So watch and see what happens. Tread carefully. Looking at the current price now at 35, maybe you should buy around 33. Stay patient. Don't be quick to buy. 35 is not what I would advise you to buy now because first of all, there's nothing to look forward to. Second, if you already have some UBA, there's going to be a rights issue, and the rights issue normally they make it cheaper unless they don't want existing shareholders to partake. Then they will want to make it more expensive than the market price. So at that point, you can decide to take up the rights or go into the market and buy. The last time they did rights issue, it was more expensive than the market price. And a lot of the big guns in that particular UBA bought up a lot of the offers. Coach, please, I bought Access Bank on the cutoff date being 29th April. Do I qualify for dividend? It's also very risky to buy on the qualification date because I've told somebody before, I sold my Access Bank some time ago. I think it's about a year ago. I sold some Access Bank shares and then dividend was declared. I was paid. And I was wondering, I said, I do not have Access Bank anymore. Why did they pay dividend to me? It's one of those mistakes. Maybe the person bought them from me on qualification day and the registrars could not update their register before time. So I always advise people, if you want to partake in any corporate action in the form of dividend or bonus, don't wait till the qualification date. Buy maximum at most a day before the qualification date because there is always a mix-up on qualification day. Registrars struggling to update the records so they can pay to those that are due. Somebody is still waiting to hear the outcome of that story about how I was paid dividend of Access Bank shares that I did not qualify for because I had sold before the qualification date. What happened was Access eventually reached out to me, not Access, the registrars reached out to me and told me, I said, yes, I was surprised to receive that dividend and the money is available. So they gave me an account number to send that money back and I did. Okay, so it took up to a week before they called me or they sent me an email, not a call. They sent an email, I saw it, and then I requested for account details for me to transfer. So I returned the money because as at that time, maybe the shareholder must have troubled them enough and they found out where they mistakenly posted that dividend to. All right. So what if it's an individual that is not interested? What if it's an individual that is not interested and disappears? The money is gone. So please do well to avoid buying on qualification date by all means. So what you would do, follow up with the registrar, but wait for 2 weeks. 2 weeks after dividend payment starts. If you still haven't received, then you can start making your complaints known to your broker and to the registrars. Mikades says, what about Unity Bank shares? Well, Unity Bank is under suspension from trading for violating one of the listing requirements, the rules of the exchange, delayed submission of reports. So the stock is not being traded until they comply with the listing requirements of submitting their reports on time before the suspension will be lifted. So you can't trade access Unity Bank shares. Kachi says, good day, sir. Can one still mop up NACO or wait for markdown? Let me see. I need to be sure what the markdown date for NACO is. Just give me a moment, trying to check for the qualification date for NACO. Okay. Qualification date for NACO's proposed 5 naira 94 kobo dividend is 9th of May. Now, NACO sells at about, let's see what the current price is. NACO is currently at 51 naira 20 kobo, down from 53 naira. And let's assume today is the markdown date. They are paying 5 naira 94 kobo per share. If they mark down that price, it means 51 naira minus 5 naira 20 kobo. 51 naira minus 5 naira 94 kobo, right? So you are going to be seeing the price drop from 51 naira to say about 45 naira plus. That would have been a good entry price. That would have been fantastic, but it means that you are not participating in the dividend harvest, so to say. So the ball is in your court now, considering the fact that NACO was selling for 53. Sorry, that's NASCON. I was looking at NASCON. NACO is 71. It touched the 52 weeks high, 1 year high, yesterday, closing 72. So it's now 71.60. All right. Sorry, I made an error. I was looking at NASCON instead of NACO. NACO is quite high at 71, but it's actually justified to an extent. So the question is, should you or should you not buy? Can you imagine the 52 weeks low of NACO is 30 naira? Somebody sometime last year bought NACO at 30 naira. Today is 71 naira. Double, more than double. Double is 60 naira. More than double already. And they are paying 5 naira 94 kobo. Okay, so I think it's up to you. If they mark down NACO, assuming it closes at today's price of 71.60 currently, the markdown price would be post-dividend payment would be 66 naira something. 66 naira something. Sometimes when they mark down like this, the price further goes below the post-markdown price, lingers there for a while, and begins to gather steam to climb back up. Sometimes, if it is a stock that is very much sought after, it doesn't waste time from the markdown, post-markdown price. It jumps back up almost instantly the same day. So I need you to know this and play your card accordingly. Make it a final decision. It's either you buy now, partake of the dividend, and still take part of the dividend to buy in when they mark down, or you choose to stay aside, wait for it to drop after markdown, and take position. So the ball is in your court. Make your final decision. It happened with a stock like VFD Group. VFD Group, based on the heavy 5-for-1 bonus declared, the stock price was marked down from 86 naira to 15 naira 60 kobo. But the moment it touched 1560, it jumped back up. It's currently at 1840. So everybody who held their stocks, irrespective of the bonus shares and the dividend payout, have benefited for staying on, because every little gain on top of the post markdown price is a capital gain for you. So from 1560, it's now 1840, right? Almost 3 naira per share gain for anybody who held on and didn't panic sell, because there was going to be a heavy markdown. All right, coach, please talk about US stocks. Oh, Abipel, that's true. Well. One of my US stock tips. How many of us right here listening to me now actually bought a stock like, what's the name of that stock again? Yesterday, that stock gained over 30% just yesterday. I gave you a list of stocks during that tariff war when the market was crashing, and one of those stocks on the list was, I'll try to remember now. Unfortunately, I'm using my gadgets for this live session, so I cannot really go onto my watch list to call up that stock. But yes, I remember HIMS. How many of us bought HIMS and Has Health? That stock yesterday powered to a 30, in fact, it touched 40% before it dropped and closed at 23% gain for the day. HIMS and Has, it flew up to about almost 40, I think $38 per share before dropping to 35 and recording a 23% gain. So HIMS and Has is one of those stocks that will still go places. And the market suffered some bit of relapse after 3 straight days of gains, or up to 4 days or 5 days, if I'm not mistaken. So a whole lot has happened in the US market. And from what I'm looking at, Amazon came under fire when there was news that they were going to indicate the extra charges on their items in the stores based on the increment in tariffs. I think that news really rattled the stock a little bit, but it managed to recover for a while. So some other stocks I'm looking at that may do well, that you may want to keep an eye on, is a stock like Fubo. Wait for Fubo is an online sports streaming company. Wait for Fubo to drop below $3 per share. Yesterday it closed at $3.10. Currently in pre-market it's at $3.07, right? So wait for Fubo to just drop under $3 and take position. Another stock is OPFI. OPFI quoted on the NYSE. It has suffered some losses. In the last 1 month, it has gained only 1%, but it has very good prospects. Though year-to-date gain from January till now is 21%, it will interest you to know that the 1-year gain is 251%. OPFI went from $2.67 in April last year to what it is now, $9.48. But guess what? Along the line, in February, this same stock hit $16.94 per share. So it was from that February it started dwindling when the market started crashing. So as we speak, it's at $9. My eyes are on this stock to see where it bottoms out before taking position. All right. The fundamentals look interesting and it looks like a very good long-term stock to take position in. Armored Residential paid dividend yesterday. Henry Onye, thank you very much for that update. It's one of the monthly dividend stocks I shared with us. That's a foreign stock. Of course, no Nigerian stock pays dividend monthly. So if you are interested in seeing the list of stocks, some of the stocks that pays monthly dividends from the US market, just take a look at some of the videos I put up here. You will find it along the line. Coach, is it late to enter African Prudential at 17.25 considering that the 52 weeks high is 18.15? Give African Prudential some time. It will come back down for a much more comfortable entry. There's nothing to rush, nothing to be crazy about, no dividend, no no bonus shares to look forward to at the moment. And that bonus declaration they did was a lot. So I would like to see African Prudential around 14 before I can say buy. And it's actually possible before November. A lot of times, you have to be very strategic in your entry. Remember, I've said it again and I repeat, when the excitement of first quarter results, which does not necessarily amount to much, dies, you now begin to single out those stocks that are doing well, that did well, and then take position. Ladies and gentlemen, United Capital up to 19 naira 50 kobo. What does that speak of the current season? I can tell you, perhaps they must have published a very good first quarter result. 19 naira 50 kobo from nowhere, right? This was a stock as at last week still sold at 15 naira, 16 naira. Currently 19.50, gaining 1 naira 25 kobo so far. So I guess the result is out and it looks great. All right. Keep your comments coming in, and if you want to talk, feel free to call in. Let me check who is interested in talking. Oluwayemisi is here on Instagram. I don't know if she wants to talk. Olorikas also is here requesting to join and be a part of the live. If you want to call, Tijani Ibrahim is also there, and Nawosia Emma Eni is also there. Please, any of you on Instagram who wants to call in, feel free. Okay, just Abi Solami is asking, what are we buying today? What we are buying today, if you ask me, a lot of times it's not just easy deciding on what to buy per time. Because the best stock might not be offering the best price at the moment. And so that's why I always love to mention a backup reasonable entry price for any stock I am speaking about. Still going through to see if there is a chance to pick on any good stock, especially good price, because I've mentioned good stocks already. Fidelity is doing something crazy right now. Somebody just bought 500,000 shares at 21 naira per share. Can you beat that? This Fidelity dropped to 16 naira 2 weeks ago. Back up and firing on all cylinders. 21 naira per share. Wema Bank, 15 naira 10 kobo. Continues to press on, currently gaining 1 naira 35 kobo per share. So there's a whole lot of bubbles. Wow, Fidelity Bank again, somebody has just put in 428,000 shares and bought up at 21 naira again. Live transactions going on in the market as it happens. Ife Anisha says UCAP profit after tax is up 64%, gross earnings is up 113%. You see that? When you find a good stock, stay in it and don't panic. Every time I mention UCAP now, I always remember Zini because she bought at 18 and then it dropped and dropped. Now it's back up far above what she bought. Okay, Tedeife Hymns, thank you for that reminder. Coach, what do you think about Palantir and NVIDIA? NVIDIA is under fire for various reasons and you want to be careful with it, but you can never say never. That stock is a giant stock. It never dies, right? Anything under $100, NVIDIA, fantastic, if you ask me, because it will soon recover at any time. Closed yesterday at 109. Currently in pre-market, it's 106 because of, like I said, NVIDIA has been under fire and eventually it will also be fine. But wait for NVIDIA under $100. Some people bought at $83 or so. So that's an ideal entry. And then for Palantir, I will also rather be patient and wait because nothing much is happening. You see, let's not run away from the fact that even if the foreign market is trying to recover a bit, something has gone wrong regarding the tariffs. Those tariff war, that tariff war that happened is going to bring about inflation in the US market and a whole lot. The ripple effect has not hit the stock market yet. It will eventually hit the stock market and we will see some of these stocks still dropping. So no rushing regarding these stocks, but I can tell you if you find Palantir under 100, if you find NVIDIA under 100 as well, very good entry. Okay, there's going to be a whole lot of ripple effect and it will not happen overnight, but that ripple effect is not good for the US market. So whenever there is a downturn as a result of these tariffs, then be sure to take position in the good ones. What about Presco? Is it a good buy? Presco is a lifetime retirement stock. Very good. The point is at what price? So let me search out Presco and see. Presco has been hovering around 700 or so. I wished that it dropped below 700 to 6 something, but it never did. And let's take a look at what Presco is at the moment. That's it. Stubbornly refusing to drop below 700, currently 775. And I think at this point, it's better to buy the Presco at anything around the 700. Jesus wept. Am I seeing double or something? In the last 52 weeks, Presco sold for as low as 209 naira per share. Goodness gracious. Currently at 775 naira, Presco was sold within the last 1 year at 209. Simply amazing. Can you see now that you can really make money patiently in the stock market if you can be brave enough and have enough patience to invest? Look at that. Presco continues to create more value. Now, without the first quarter result out, Presco refuses to go below 700. By the time the first quarter result comes out, hopefully it comes out great. I do not see Presco ever selling below 700 anymore. So the ball is in your court. Analysts are saying the US economy might go into a recession by quarter 4, 2025. Pseudo boy, very correct feedback. I heard about that, and there is no optimism in the US market again. And everybody must take, when it comes to analysts in the US, take them seriously because they say the truth and they refuse to play politics. So if they have said this, then know that most of these what you call institutional investors will start adjusting their portfolios accordingly, right? So you want to take position and take advantage of this news and stay patient. Buy little by little where you see bargains. Don't rush in, right? It takes time to build money or build wealth, and to make it in this market, you have to be this tactical and be very strategic. So very correct there, and it also aligns with what I said about not rushing in when I was talking about when to buy Palantir, when to buy Nvidia, and so on. Okay. All right. If you are not following me, you are losing money. At least by now you understand. Because just imagine I was crying to you a year ago, buy Presco. It's a very good company, 209, and people are running away from it. It's now 700. That's how many percent? 100% is 400 and something. Another 100% is like 600 and something. So we are talking about over 200 and almost 250% profit within 1 year on Presco. That's before you talk about the dividend, right? Let me even check. Presco dividend. Let me see if you buy Presco now, if you will qualify for the dividend. Okay, qualification date for the proposed dividend of Presco is July the 4th, right? Guess how much they are paying? Presco is paying 42 naira final dividend for 2024. Can you beat that? So if you buy now, you still benefit from the final dividend. 42 naira per share. Interesting stuff. And I remember I was talking about buy Presco, and some people actually bought at 400 and something. 400 and something naira per share, boom, to 700 and something naira as we speak. And they are now qualified to collect that 42 naira per share dividend. Those that bought at 400 and something, the dividend yield is over 10%. But those that will now buy at 700 and something, the dividend yield is going to be lower. But it doesn't matter. You are investing. Then those that bought at 200 and something, the dividend yield is something else, over 20%. That's why we advise you to take position early in very good stocks and stay patient there. As dividend continues to increase over time, your own enterprise being very low, your yield continues to increase. So don't be surprised that you own a particular stock that suddenly begins to give dividend, increase the dividend over the years to an extent that your dividend yield for some stocks in your portfolio will be reading things like 40%. 40% annually on dividends is something else, right? I'll give you an instance. I bought UBA 7 naira per share. Let's work out the dividend yield for UBA. UBA paid a dividend of how much? Total dividend of 5 naira per share. You know, they declared interim dividend 2 naira per share. They paid it. I received it October last year. And then they declared 3 naira final dividend this year, which we received last week. Or was it this week? Making a total dividend of 5 naira per share for the full year 2024 financial report. So let's see. If I bought at 7 naira per share, and they paid 5 naira per share, my dividend yield on UBA, as I speak to you, is 71%. While people are here comparing dividend yields and wondering, oh, it's 11%, that's fair, 12%, that's fine, 9%, it's okay. My dividend yield for that UBA is 71%. So every year, I'm receiving 71% return on the capital I invested in UBA some years ago. Get the point now. This same Presco we are seeing that people are buying at 700 and something. People bought it at 25 naira per share sometime. So imagine 42 naira per share dividend on a stock you bought for 25 naira per share. Let's not go too far. 5 years ago, NACO sold at 2 naira per share. You bought NACO 2 naira per share. If you buy 1 million shares of NACO, that's 2 million naira. But the dividend they're going to pay you now is 1 million shares times 5 naira 94 kobo. That's how much? 5.9 million. And you bought the stock for 2 naira per share. How many percent dividend yield is that? Over 200%. This is where the money is. That's why you can't come here with a get rich quick mentality and really make money. In fact, a lot of the times, if you get into the stock market with a get rich quick mentality, you're going to lose money. But you know what? Sit down and build wealth. Wealth requires time, and time means patience. Sit down, do what we're saying consistently, build your own portfolio that will become your fortress of financial defense in the future. No matter what the struggle is, 2 million naira spent 2 years ago, 5 years ago, is now fetching you almost 6 million on a yearly basis. What real estate property can you build with 2 million naira and be receiving annual rent of more than 5 million naira, for instance, without sweat? You get the wisdom now. That's why I love paper assets, and that's why the only physical real estate property I own is the house I live in. Every other asset is in paper assets. It is flexible. I can access them anywhere I am. I don't need a lawyer to come running after occupants, or what you call them, tenants and so on. And when it's dividend payment time, I don't go and struggle with tenants to pay their rent. It just drops in my account. And then, most importantly, the dividend keeps building up. Remember, this same NACO was paying 45 kobo per share. Then it got to 50 kobo per share. Then they increased it to 80 kobo per share. And then 1 naira per share. It looked like, wow. So that stock pay you 45 kobo per share today, you will be amazed what it can pay you a couple of years from now. Because the whole idea is that as we investigate these companies and invest in these stocks that are going to be profitable with good prospects going forward, they will keep building and creating value that will eventually reflect in their payout. And as they do that, the stock price also increases. This is why you must be careful not to invest in a loss-making company. And when you notice that a company you hold is tending towards making losses, you start adjusting to take position and get out of that stock early enough. And you can't do that alone. That's why there's a community like this. You get the point? Please, let's settle down and build wealth. Don't be in a hurry. Rome was not built in a day. Why do you want to have a Rome that was built in a day? Relax yourself. Some of these penny stocks will eventually arise and get out of that penny stage. If you are able to accumulate enough, because you may not have too much in cash, no problem. Very soon, what you bought as a penny stock will become a blue chip company. UBA, I bought at a penny stock stage. And now, those who used to complain, why does UBA always pay very low dividend? That time, they left the UBA alone. We bought because we saw it as an opportunity to have enough. And that's why it is important to stay patient. When you pick your stock, relax. You may be saying 5 years from now is too far, but you remember clearly what happened during COVID. That's to tell you how close 5 years from now is. Right? So relax yourself, and do what you are doing from time to time. Chukudi Paul says, is your live session always recorded? Yes, sir. Chukudi, it's recorded. It's on my YouTube channel on a daily basis. The one you missed yesterday is already uploaded as we speak. The birthday edition that came with a lot of fun was also uploaded. I showed you where I bought a stock in 1998, that birthday edition, very special edition. I showed you contract notes. There was no email to do nothing, so you have to walk into the stockbroker's office those days. Now it's no longer so, right? That was when I bought flour mills. I bought flour mills. The contract note I showed to you was flour mills at 7 naira something, and also Unilever. But then it was not Unilever, it was Lever Brothers. Most of you remember. Lever Brothers, eventually the name change came along the line. It became Unilever that we have today. 7 naira per share. Flour mills eventually delisted last year. Was it this year or last year? Late last year or early this year? I think last year. Yes, last year. Late last year. Flour mills eventually delisted at 86 naira per share. A stock I bought 7 naira in 1998. But that's too far now. With what we now know, you can buy a stock 10 naira today. 5 years from now, it's a 40 naira stock. Anything can just happen. We are seeing it live. It's happening before our very eyes. With technological advancement, with research capabilities improved, you see, right? So after now, if you want the downloaded video of the live session, just go onto the YouTube channel. Feel free. Most of the information shared here are still valid for the next 1 month. So even if there are videos that you didn't see, you weren't a part of, you can go back, keep going back and checking for information, because there's no other way. One of the greatest advantages foreign markets have over us is documentation, data. They have perfect documentation of historical performances, so you can draw from there. That's one of the things we're missing. We say a lot of things. I say a lot of things. If you are not writing, you can't remember them all. That's why writing is also very important. Take notes as we talk. When a stock is mentioned that it looks like it's fantastic, you put it down, target it, look for a good entry price. Even after I recommend a price, for instance, you can still find that stock lower than I said. It happens a lot of times. I buy a stock, the price goes down. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just the emotions of people in the market, and you can't control that. But can I tell you this? Over time, we are always justified. Over time, we are justified. So look away from market fluctuations. There are noises in the market that distracts. And if you are not being spoken to, talked to, guided, mentored, you can jump in, lose money, and jump out. So Quadri Presco is a good stock to buy and hold. Right? So is TIP Tantalizers and NIDF a good buy now? What's the best entry price for both, please? Tantalizer has not done enough for me to recommend it, but they are working terribly hard. I can tell you that. Tantalizer currently at where is it? 2 naira 40 kobo has all been a result of the hype that fresh funds have been injected into the business, and that people, the business is now going to be beyond just a restaurant but an entertainment chain. We need the numbers. I don't care if the price rises eventually. With good numbers, I can be sure what I'm investing in. So it's all been hype for Tantalizers. Last year, Tantalizers was 70 kobo per share or something like that, and then crossed to 1 naira. The news came out that something good is happening. They've new investors are taking over and so on. But let's see results. Then we can follow. The same thing with Ella Lakes. Great potentials and so on, but we don't buy potentials no more. I want results. I'd rather put the money where I can see solid dividend track record and so on. Or I put the money in a similar stock like Tantalizers, which is TIP. Remember, TIP was 1 naira 90 kobo. I will not forget. In fact, after I mentioned it at 1 naira 90 kobo and bought, it dropped to 1 naira 80 kobo. Where do we have TIP now? 4 naira plus. And TIP is not done yet. Okay? So assume you have 4 point something million. You can decide to say, I want to have a 1 million share stock in my portfolio. Where can I afford that? TIP is a perfect. Charms is another one. 2 million naira plus. You have bought 1 million charms. You also have 1 million shares of a particular stock. Should the devil chasing after your wealth be eventually punished, and that your charms you bought 2 million naira for 1 million shares jumps to 7 naira per share or 10 naira per share, that's your 1 million shares of charms becoming 10 million naira before your eyes. You get the point now? Or your 4 million naira tip that you bought 1 million, suddenly, 1 million shares, suddenly now is selling for 11 naira per share. When you see it at 11 naira per share, that means 1 million, 11 million naira. So your 1 million naira, 1 million shares in that your portfolio, every 1 naira gain is 1 million naira. Do you notice that? Well, Fortune Ojenama, update on your African Prudential. It has just lost 80 kobo now, currently 17 naira. Remember, I told you it was 17 naira, 80 kobo, and I said, hold on and just wait. Don't rush in. Allow. It has a behavior that I've come to. Most stocks have certain behaviors because I notice because I follow them very closely. And so I am targeting that stock. Don't be surprised, it can drop to 15 naira, 14 naira. Yeah. So any stock you buy, 1 million shares, every 1 naira gained is 1 million naira profit for you. That's how interesting it is. So I would rather say TIP and NIDF. But the caveat for NIDF, it is a dividend stock and may not have too much capital appreciation yet, but it will eventually also gain capital appreciation over time. This NIDF that has been hovering around 111 and 120 will eventually hit 200. At that point, you'll be happy you bought it at 120 or 111. So it's all a matter of time. NIDF will guarantee you dividend every 3 months. The only Nigerian stock that pays dividend 4 times a year. Every quarter, you have dividend paid to you. So, what a wonderful, fantastic retirement stock. Who asked me about GTCO and I said, hold on. Well, GTCO is losing 2 naira 80 kobo right now in the market, currently 65 naira per share. NACO has stepped up, gaining 3 naira to about now, what is that? Okay, I lost it there because there were too many of these per second trades dropping. 74 naira 90 kobo now. Suddenly NACO 74 naira 90 kobo. I don't know what is behind GT Bank's current slump. We will find out. I hope they didn't have a poor performance in their financial reports. Okay, do I have a caller? I have spoken long enough. I think I should have a caller. Yes, I do. Pseudo Boy is online. Hello.
Hello, coach. Good
Very
afternoon.
good afternoon to you.
How you doing? My name is Osas from Abuja.
Osas from Abuja, thank you very much for joining. Do you have up to 1,000 followers?
No, I don't. Oh.
Okay, I would have loved to see your face. That's part
All
of the
right.
rules. In any case, let's go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to just pick your brains about me and stocks is something I do a lot. So I
Okay.
was watching one program. It's a long this it had this guy on it, the CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, right? So one of the complaints he had was that why they are not in Africa, JP Morgan, was because we don't have proper structures here in Africa. So they cannot really expand into Africa. And again, our politics here is really, really very unpredictable. Do you get? So I was talking to my brother and was saying that our stocks here in Nigeria are so cheap, and it's true. When I calculated the most expensive stock we have, which is like GT Bank, it's like 3 cents. So, for example, if JP Morgan wants to come into Nigeria now, they can just buy out GT Bank and just disappear
Actually,
for
the
3 cents.
expensive stock is Seplat, over
Yeah,
5,000 naira plus.
but
In any case, there's also a stock that sells for 1 million naira per share. Have you heard
oh
about
really?
that?
Okay. I was talking about banks anyway in
Okay,
Nigeria.
go
Banks. So it's
ahead.
like three. So 3 cents. So a JP Morgan can just come and buy like 3, 4 banks and just take over the banking stuff. And so that's alludes to what you say that buying stocks now or investing in stocks is at this price right now. It's a very very good deal. You get particularly if you are there for for the long haul. Yeah, and also a lot of the stocks now are coming up now. I think the economy is beginning to stabilize right now. The forex market is beginning to. Do you see more companies coming into Nigeria or more companies listing on the stock market before the end of the year? And if the answer
Okay.
is yes, which ones do you think will come in?
Actually, more companies will be listed going forward. We're expecting the likes of Dangote Refinery, NNPCL, and I think two others that I can't really recall all immediately. But you are very correct with that statement by JP Morgan. The biggest problem we have in Nigeria and in Africa is instability. Every investment house, every investment bank, every economist, and every entrepreneur is looking for opportunities in a stable environment, economically stable, politically stable. And
Yeah,
now that you do not have that stability guaranteed like you have it across US, Canada, Europe, and Asia, what we get is scavenging. That's why the resources of Africa is being scavenged by the colonial masters. The gold, the diamond, the crude oil, everywhere you have natural resources in Africa, the companies only come or the countries only come to scavenge. They can't possibly establish fully because of the instability. Then you add corruption to that, it makes everything worse. I worked in Shell after I left the bank. And one of the eye opening lessons I learned was that that time there was serious incidents of kidnapping of foreign expatriates.
yeah.
And in our location, we're building a gas plant. In our location, there was an incident. A kidnap incident happened where they came into the site and took away some foreign expatriates, and the site and the entire project was shut down. Everybody was evacuated, and we all had to leave. For 1 full month, that project was closed down. Guess what? By the time the project reopened, after all assessment was done and every other thing to mitigate against such a reoccurrence was put in place, only one expatriate staff refused to return. The
Wow.
rest of them all came back. Why? Petrodollars.
Petrodollar. Yeah.
We saw how one day, because their salaries are calculated per day, we saw how 1 day salary of an expatriate is equivalent of 1 full month of the Nigerian employee.
Wow.
It's that bad. or it's that wide. The gap is that wide. What am I saying? The money is here. For the first time, I knew that Oyibo like money. They were not scared because eventually they also gave them what they call security allowance. That fear that came with that kidnapping incident eventually led to them having extra income tagged security allowance.
Wow, yeah.
So the king was able to draw all of them back. Only one refused to come back out of fear.
Wow.
And they had enough fund, and the project was successfully completed. What am I saying? They will just come and go, but they won't come and stay and establish. But if you find a place, that's why a place like South Africa, under their rule during the apartheid era, has made the South African economy a bit more stable, so that even when they were moved out of governance, if you enter South Africa today, you can still see that the economy is actually being sustained by the private sector. And the private sector is owned by the whites.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. Our biggest problem, if it is not a coup in a gold or one solid mineral gifted country, it is political unrest, corruption, and then economic instability. Dollar jumping from 700 to 1,500, all those things. Investors cannot plan in such an environment. If they find a peaceful, that's why two nations, Tanzania and Botswana, check it out.
Yeah.
They are doing excellently well right now because of political stability and, will I say, incorruption, if I may put it that way.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
so until we get it right, where politicians will stop killing and destroying the system when they lose out in an election, or because they must remain there, you can't find these developments coming to Africa. We'll still be in this problem and struggling the way we are. But should they find some? So the Naira, like you said, is now finding some form of stability. And if you check the recent IMF ratings of Nigeria and projections for Nigeria, you can see that it's becoming more favorable because stability is now there. It's not about how high the Naira, how high the dollar is against the Naira. Most importantly, how stable. Because the Japanese yen is about 100 yen to a dollar for so long. That stability will allow people plan. If companies want to come to Nigeria, are they going to be disturbed by all these government agencies? Is there transparency in the way we do business? Is there even ease of doing business? How quickly can you establish a company in Nigeria? All of those things is what they look at before they pitch their tent somewhere.
Yeah, you're correct.
Right? So that's it. And you are very correct. Most Nigerian stocks are cheap just because the foreign investors are really afraid to take full-time position. But there is still foreign portfolio investment in the Nigerian market up till now. And that's why they go for a stock like GT Co. There's a whole lot of foreign investment in GT Co. GT Bank.
Yeah.
Their stock. That's why if GT can still be selling for 100 naira, you still see buyers.
Yeah.
Why? Because in terms of Nigerian bank, GT ranks number one when it comes to corporate governance.
Okay.
That's why they prefer GTCO to any other bank. So if any other bank wants foreign direct investment, step up your corporate governance, be transparent, be open, let everything be clear, no hanky-panky, then you gain their trust. It is trust in the end that attracts this money.
So, Coach, last two questions, before I
Yes,
correct
sir.
you. So, the first one is this Tinubu's projection of a $1 trillion economy. Is it possible within the lifespan of his administration? Do you think it will happen like in 8 years? And the second question is, when are you coming to Abuja now for your meet and greet? We're waiting for you. We have fans here, plenty. Oh.
Not a problem. We'll work that out. May not be too long anymore. because if Lagos is coming up next month, then it's no longer far.
Okay, all right.
Surely we'll have a great time. So, as far as $1 trillion economy is concerned, it's absolutely possible. It depends on how well his government plays the game. If you recall, he started off by traveling across nations, including trying to resolve that issue Nigeria had with UAE in terms of
Visa.
issuance and all that. He made a good move. He has tried some things, but those countries and those businesses in those countries are waiting to see the environment really being conducive enough. And that's why Lagos, amongst all the states in Nigeria today, is actually booming. There seems to be some semblance of peace, political stability, and economic vibrancy in Lagos.
Yeah.
So every other foreigner feels safer and comfortable in Lagos than anywhere else. In the 80s and 90s, Port Harcourt, Delta State were places where you had a lot of foreign settlers because of the oil companies here. But it's no longer so because of the threat of militancy and instability political wise. So, what are we saying? All he needs to make Nigeria a $1 trillion company, economy, is to keep going out and pitching these big giant companies to come in to invest here. That's all. Nothing much. Just like what Dangote has just done, a foreign company can come into the steel industry, establish steel manufacturing plants, and before you know it, the game has changed.
Yeah.
So it's very possible, but it depends on how suitable they make the environment to be. A lot of companies, for instance, Dangote has also said he's going to develop a seaport in Ogun State. So Ogun, by proximity to Lagos, is now enjoying some serious economic activity and benefits
Yeah.
because the semblance of peace around Lagos seems to be reflecting on Ogun, and then of course proximity. Lagos is getting choked up with too much,
Yeah.
so they begin to benefit. So it's really possible. Anybody, Elon Musk can decide to come now and say he wants to open a car assembly plant,
Yeah.
Tesla factory here. That's a lot of money coming in, and you can just grow the economy that much beyond $1 trillion.
I hope so. I hope we see it during our lifetime. Oh.
It all depends on the politicians. Everybody, just transparency. The same way you can come up and talk to me now because you see some level of trust. I'm not saying I have proven myself to be very trustworthy, but somehow, some way, there's some bit of transparency, and you want to tend towards somebody you can trust. It's the same everywhere. It's the same. So the whites don't joke with it. And of course, we already have a very terrible reputation abroad already.
Yes.
You know? So we have a lot of work to do. If our politicians can help and create some stability, they like, you see investors, whites, they love where the money is.
Yeah.
Their only fear is instability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, very much. I appreciate this. I appreciate the session. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense too, your questions. Thank you very much. Bye. Is NIDF a good buyer now, coach? Call me, Temitope. I think NIDF is a stock that you should make up your mind to buy if you want to and stay in there and keep eating the dividend till further notice. Please, coach, can one buy stock at any time he has money? I guess, Samson, that's what you mean? Yes, definitely. Whenever you have money, you can buy stocks. Some people who earn money monthly can buy stocks monthly. Some who earn weekly abroad can buy stocks weekly. Anyhow, that's why I say you are the CEO of your portfolio. Okay? Altime John says, yes, so Abuja is waiting for you, coach. Wow, not a problem. Let's make it happen. You know, in Network Investors Club, we also have subgroups. Your subgroup, like I said yesterday, is a function of where you are residing, not where you are from naturally. Okay, so if you are based in Abuja, we have Abuja subgroup in our Network Investors Club. It is in that subgroup that they will eventually share information and plan our outing in Abuja. The same thing for Lagos. And I think Lagos has the highest number of members in their subgroup compared to every other subgroup. But I think Abuja and Port Harcourt are also amongst the top after Lagos. So it is at the subgroup levels that you can now proceed to plan for our meeting physically. The same way we have U.S. subgroup, Canada subgroup. For Europe, we decided to put it together and just call it Europe for the moment. Even if we have had Spain, Netherlands, and other locations in Europe. And then for UAE, it's Dubai subgroup. So we will perfect that as time goes on so that we can be able to have sessions in these locations from time to time, as long as subgroup leaders, the ESCO in the subgroup, and members come together to work it out and plan it. Of course, we can make this happen. Lola, there's a straight bullet to one road, they can never be transparent. That's the problem. How about Stanbic IBTC shares? Well, I would say it's supposed to be the most expensive bank, but GTCO is giving it a run for its money. Stable, sound, well managed, and of course, Stanbic IBTC is actually fantastic when it comes to investment banking. They are the foremost investment bank in Nigeria and will continue to be. So your money is safe there. The value creation can only continue to increase. Okay. Bamboo and Optimus Invest has not verified my account for months now. Chukudi Donald, check to see that you have sent in all the required documentation. I remember for Optimus, if you do not complete your documentation, there is no verification for you. Okay? And it's, I think, from one state to the other. So check to see that you have sent in all your KYC documents and all the other things that you need to fill in all the stages, including what you do, your employment or unemployment, your salary and the expectations, all of those things. If you don't complete that, then they can't verify you. Trillion 1000 says, please, sir, FCMB and NASCON, did they pay dividend? NASCON is paying 2 naira per share. It hasn't been paid yet. FCMB, I can't recall. Yes, Walade Flutterwave is one of the companies that wants to get listed also. Apostle Abraham says, how do I invest, please? First of all, you open a stock brokerage account. Second, listen up, get knowledge, and you can make use of my YouTube channel. And then to open your stock brokerage account, follow me on Instagram, send me a DM. I'll forward a link to you to open your brokerage account from anywhere you are in the world. And then, based on the knowledge you have gathered from the helpful beginner guide videos in my YouTube channel, you can make up your mind on what to invest, especially being a part of the daily live session here, and then you start investing. We always advocate that you get enough knowledge so you know what you are doing, because even Warren Buffett said risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. So you want to be sure exactly what you are doing and take full advantage of the market to grow your money. We are also on Discord app. We have that community of investors, nearly 2,000 members across the world right now. And that also helps us to continue to communicate market activities and events and analysis as they continue outside the 2 hours that I always have with you on a daily basis. In fact, as a matter of fact, that is how tight my schedule can be. Eventually, I may not be able to come on a daily basis, but before that time, you'll be able to know. That's why we have the Network Investors Club on Discord app. So in case you need all of these, the link to join the group and to open your brokerage account, search for me with my Instagram handle at Wealth Coach Omiete, I've typed it there for you to see. Follow me on Instagram, send me a DM, and I'll send you all of these links. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes before we call it quits today, it's been a fantastic session with you. I'm very sorry I'm not able to respond to all your questions, but never mind. Tomorrow is another day. I'll take a look and try to talk about anyone I can within the allowable space. What about somebody in Nigeria buying stock in the UK or USA? Is it possible? Absolutely. That's why we discuss foreign stocks also. All you need to do if you're in Nigeria, you want to buy foreign stocks, download the Optimus by AfriInvest app, complete all the details, and send your documents, and they'll verify you. You fund your account in Naira, convert to dollars on the app, and then you're ready to invest. GK Matic Man says, hi coach, what's happening to livestock? The price is falling. Well, if you were here yesterday, I would have said the price is falling, but today the price is even recovering from what I see. Yesterday it dropped to about 7 naira, but today it has bounced back. That's because the first quarter result was not wonderful. But it looks like the investing public still has hope in the stock. So yesterday it closed at 7 naira 72 kobo. Today is 8 naira 40 kobo. Yeah? Donald Ngam says, what about Dangote shares and Nestle? What about them? Dangote Cement, fantastic stock. Watch out and see how it bounces off after a while, right? Coach, will there be live tomorrow because it's Workers' Day? Tomorrow is Workers' Day. Is there a public holiday? Yes, if it's a public holiday, there will be no live. Can you imagine? I didn't even notice that. Let me check to see if Workers' Day is actually a public holiday. If it is, I guess it is. If it is, then Uncle Willie says, Coach, a very good day. As the host city, meet and greet will start from Port Harcourt before any other city. Well, if you say so, the ball is in your court. Let's see how the subgroups decide to meet and agree. Of course, it's easier, far easier to do a meet and greet in Port Harcourt. Basic thing is there will have to be an entry fee, something affordable within the range of 10 and 20,000, nothing much, so that the venue can be sorted, tea break can be sorted, and of course, don't I deserve something like a honorarium? Of course I do. So depending on the number of people who are ready to contribute, as a subgroup, they can go ahead to contribute or do something or the other. But the truth is, in the end, money is required to get a very reasonable venue and then get the tea break items ready. And then, of course, we are good to go. Everything is doable. After all, it's money we are making, so why not? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's past 2 p.m. and I beg to take my leave now. Okay, Maobi has been in the house. Wow, I didn't notice that. Please, how can I join the subgroup? It's in the main group. Okay. Angela Joseph, I can't do a summary. I'm sorry. It's been 2 hours. It's a long time to summarize at this time when the session is supposed to be over. Okay. So guys, let's get fired up. Let's get ready. Eventually, a lot of activities will soon start happening in the subgroups. And the truth is, it's purely based on performance. So whether host city or not, whether biggest city in Nigeria or not, that's referring to Lagos or Abuja, the point is any subgroup that is ready and prepares themselves substantially with facts to prove that they are really ready to get a live session. Of course, the logistics and everything has to be planned. The ESCO, the central ESCO, will be working with the subgroup team to make it happen. And once it happens, we can keep meeting because there is so much knowledge. I wish I can turn this camera towards my bookshelf to show you the resources that I have for us to share to make you a better person. Listen, 1 year from now, you'll be glad you're a part of this community. And that's why it's important that we keep meeting both physically and otherwise, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, even across the world, we'll be having meetings, including in Dubai, in Oman, in Qatar, in the UK. Canada is already calling. Of course, wherever we are able to organize ourselves, we'll have a meet and greet and then have some powerful sessions and make good money out of the market. The US market has presented some fantastic opportunities that you must not miss. All of you saw those stock recommendations on my watch list regarding after the post-tariff war, right? And now, just yesterday, HIMS, one of them, recorded about 40% before dropping to 23% at the close of trading. This is the time to plant money in some solid US stocks and wait out this period. It won't be more than a year before you start seeing some very good returns on your foreign stock portfolio. Thank you very much for all you do, Atlas Portfolios. Thank you very much, Maobi, for being there always. And every member of this community, you are simply amazing. Hopefully, we see again. If tomorrow is a public holiday in Nigeria, then we may not be able to meet tomorrow. We all know it's Workers' Day, but if it's not a public holiday, then I'll be here. If the market is open, the Nigerian market is open, then I'll be here. And the Nigerian market will only be open if it's not a public holiday. So see you tomorrow, same time, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Nigerian time. Otherwise, we meet again on Friday. For now, all the best. Cheers. Stay safe and be good. Bye.